So today we have taken up this topic. You might be wondering why the topic is taken as such, like God the Supreme, then again gods, then man. Actually, there is one single entity that is the Supreme Divine, which one might call God, Divine, the eternal reality. Eternal reality because it has neither a beginning nor an ending. It is eternal. And when the eternal wants to manifest, what he does, the divine, he kind of extends himself. He radiates divine personalities, which we call gods. In fact, gods are the emanations of the Supreme, charged with some specific functions. And these gods again have their own emanations. And all these gods are nothing but powers of the Supreme Divine, that is, of the one God only, the Supreme Divine. And each God concerns himself with the truth he has to manifest, he has to realize in all these worlds. In fact, all these gods are in the domains what Sri Aurobindo calls the overmind. In fact, overmind is that domain which is the uppermost in the planes of consciousness of the lower hemisphere. Earlier also we discussed about this, that there are two hemispheres. One is upper hemisphere consisting of Sat, Chit and Ananda, the triune pause of the Supreme Divine, which is unmanifest, and the lower hemisphere, which is called Aparardha. First one is called Parardha, the upper hemisphere, and the lower hemisphere is called Aparardha, and it starts from the top, over mind, right down to matter through different planes of consciousness. So all these gods are but powers derived from the Supreme Divine only. And each of the gods, with their own different emanations, are supposed to realize his own truth in different worlds. Because each of the worlds, in each of the worlds, they are the ruler. And in doing so, when the Satchitananda, the Supreme Divine from its triune pause manifests, he wants to become many, as we said earlier also. So it is something like the one that is the Supreme Divine puts out the many, uh, and each of the many presided over by these godheads in different worlds. So thus the working of the whole creation, the whole universe in different worlds goes on, deriving powers from the Supreme Divine only. In that case, it is only the one Supreme Divinity which operates through his different powers of gods and different emanations. And it is in fact described in the Upanishad also, uh, like like it is a golden lead, that golden lead which covers the truth. That is, the borderline of the overmind, it is like a lead covering the truth, that is the supermind. So what we find, this borderline separates the overmind from the supermind. And from below, that is from overmind downwards, all these godheads operating from the overmind in different worlds runs the whole worlds, all the worlds, including that of ours, that is the earth. And so now the gods of the overmind rule our worlds directly or indirectly through their several radiations, through their several emanations. And that is why we see most of the religions uh, are organized around these gods, whom we name gods. All these are organized around these gods only, in different sects, in different religions. But these are nothing but powers specifically put for functioning in different worlds, in different ways. So they have their own freedom in the overmind. Although they are aware of their origin, that is the Satchidananda, but when they operates, it is something like they keep on doing it freely from the overmental regions, without of course clashing with each other. And now if man, now we come to the next part, man. If man wants to rise from the lower levels of consciousness to the absolute, that is the supreme divine, he cannot do so. It is said that he has to pay the price for that. That means in each step, because of the karmic bound, because he is bound to karmic laws, whatever he has been doing throughout different births or will be doing, so according to that only he will progress in the in his spiritual journey. So at every step of progression, he has to go through all these gods, as if they will give him the password to go ahead. So that is an evolutionary journey, which is very slow in its pace. Of course, there are other way also by which a man can rise and even merge with the divinity above, that is Satchidananda, straight away. without going through the gods. But that is another kind. In fact, that is an ascetic way, merging oneself, that is living the manifestation. But ours, this world, this earth is nothing but a place of manifestation of the divine only. Otherwise, it would not have been in the first place, it would not have been here. In fact, the whole earth, together with all whatever is there, would not have been here in the first place. So, that way, if someone has to regard manifestation on earth, then he has to participate in it rather than to take the ascetic way of merging himself in the divine. And in that case, it is through the precipitation of this natural way of evolution of which we always talk. In fact, it is Sri Aurobindo and the mother. They have shown us the path that even remaining here on earth, we can do so, participate in the manifestation as much as possible to bring down the divinity here, and finally it can be a place where one can wield power, one can have harmony, one can have true love without any dissipation. So that's the way Sri Aurobindo and the mother have shown us. So it is very clear that it is a progressive manifestation of the divine on earth, and to speed up the whole process, we can choose the direct path without having to traverse through different terrains which take detours, which go this way and that way, and it is a long path which can be shortened by the process of the path shown by Sri Aurobindo, that is integral yoga. And in fact, today morning only I have come across a beautiful passage in Savitri which corroborates it very beautifully. Although human being as we are, always feel the pang, feel the problems and difficulties, always. We have been facing it. Our forefathers had been facing it. We have been facing it. But all these are not in vain. And what Sri Aurobindo has described beautifully, in fact, through poetic verse, he has described all these. And you can just connect it. I'll just read out the passage. It's a long passage, but I'll try to get something out of it. A truth supreme has forced the world to be. It is not a mechanical accident by which we human beings are here on earth. Nor are we supposed to do something with our mental framework only, which we believe always that we can do a lot of things and finally we fail. It is not that. So what he has said, a truth supreme has forced the world to be. It has wrapped itself in matters as in a shroud of death, a shroud of ignorance. The truth supreme has wrapped itself in matter. He himself has consented to be wrapped by matter. A shroud of death, a shroud of ignorance. It compelled the suns to burn through silent space, flame signs of the uncomprehended thought, in a wide brooding ether's formless muse. All whatever is there in the existence, including the sun, of which we see only the rays coming out of it so brilliantly. Here he says that flame signs of its uncomprehended thought. We cannot comprehend what it means actually, the sun. We only see the rays, brighter rays coming out of the sun. That much only we see. In a wide brooding ether's formless muse, it made of knowledge a veiled and struggling light, of being a substance nation dense and dumb, of bliss the beauty of an insentient world. What the Supreme does, it made of knowledge a veiled and struggling light. We always struggle, even though we think that we are knowledgeable, we can do a lot of things, but we always struggle because finally it is some way or other we come to a pass in which a point in which we cannot go further. Of being a substance nascent, dense and dumb, of bliss, the beauty of an insentient world. Insentient world, you see, because insentient means the opposite of sentient. Sentient is conscious, having sense, having feeling. So insentient means this world doesn't have any true feeling, any true sense by which it can grow. That is why the bliss is kind of curtained. In finite things, the conscious infinite dwells. Again, he says, even in finite things, the conscious infinite dwells. Involved, it sleeps in matter's helpless trance. The divine or the conscious infinite dwells in everything, in finite things also, which are tend to get devoured or distracted. Even in those things, the infinite dwells. And involved, it sleeps in matter's helpless trance, as if matter, what we call matter, gross matter, even in that also, he is kind of sleeps in trance. And it rules the world from its sleeping senseless void. Dreaming, it throws out mind and heart and soul. But even from that, what he does, the Supreme Divinity, hidden in matter, slowly projects himself with first life, then mind also, and slowly the soul, to labor crippled, bound on the hard earth. It pushes us to go through different experiences, to labor always. Nothing comes so plainly. We have to labor. We have to struggle every day, day in and day out. And through all this labor only, we become a little bit conscious. And those small dots of consciousness adds up to make something growing from greater to greater consciousness. A broken whole, it works through scattered points. Its gleaming shards are wisdom's diamond thoughts. Its shadowy reflex our ignorance. It starts from the mute mass in countless jades. It fashions a being out of brain and nerve, a sentient creature from its pleasures and pangs. Now we can trace back our journey from where we have come. When we were just a speck of dust, from that we have grown up to be human being with mind, with capacities unbound. But all this is due to the Supreme Presence everywhere, slowly making conscious. Even though we started from the mute mass in countless states, it fashions a being out of brain and nerve, a sentient creature from the pleasures and pangs. Earlier, all these whom we call Adi Manav, who were only involved or engrossed in having food and all those beastly passions, even they could become conscious, sentient, slowly and slowly. A pack of feelings obscure, a dot of sense, survives a while answering the shocks of life. Then crushed, or its force spent, leaves the dead form, leaves the huge universe in which it lived, an insignificant, unconsidered guest. What we human beings are, we come as we do every time, each birth, struggle, have a little bit of joy, what we call joy, then leaves this scene, leaves the huge universe in which it lived, an insignificant, unconsidered guest. After we leave the scene, that is, after we leave the body, hardly will be remembered. Of course, people will remember for some years, maybe down the years 50, 100, 150 years, 200, but not beyond that probably. People will forget that so and so existed, used to live on this earth. He did this and that. We are insignificant, unconsidered guest. A demigod animal came thinking man. So, what is our root? A demigod animal. We were animal initially. We had all the instincts, still carrying a little bit of it. And also we have the possibility of becoming a demigod. In between, we have developed mind to carry on, and also we have the possibility to become God, demigod, if only we choose to. He wallows in mud, yet heavenward soars in thought. Is talking about man. A man wallows in mud, yet heavenward soars in thought. He plays and ponders, laughs and weeps and dreams, satisfies his little longings like the beast. He pores upon life's book with student eyes. Because he is ignorant, because a man is ignorant, he does what he shouldn't do. Gets the whip for all these struggles to find solutions to all these, fails, and somehow, like a student, what does a student do? He always